Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking on someone who really just defies any easy label.
Oh, absolutely.
A comedian, yes, but
Yeah.
also a serious actor, a political activist, an elite endurance athlete. It's quite the list.
He really is.
We are diving deep into the extraordinary life, the evolving identity, and, well, the relentless career of Suzy Eddie Izzard.
And it's a fascinating stack of source material we've got here. It covers, several decades? Decades of intense public life. And when you try to synthesize all these pieces, the whimsical comedy, the incredible dedication to languages, the grueling physical stuff, the political campaigning, you get this, singular figure.
Right.
So our mission for you, the listener, isn't just about listing achievements. It's about trying to understand what ties it all together. What's the sort of unifying principle?
And it seems to be this commitment to breaking boundaries, doesn't it? Like intentionally.
Yeah.
Linguistic, physical, social, all of them.
Exactly. That intentionality is key.
And the hook is just the sheer, it's almost absurd, the breadth of what she's done. We're talking 2 Primetime Emmys, right?
Yeah.
For Dress to Kill.
Yeah, the stand-up special, incredible.
Tony nomination for a serious Broadway role, starring in massive Hollywood films like the Ocean's series.
But then, like you said, you get these stats that just pull the rug out from under any normal idea of, celebrity effort.
Like the marathons.
The marathons. 43
Mm-hmm.
marathons in 51 days. And this is someone with basically no running background beforehand.
It's mind-boggling.
And then performing complex stream of consciousness stand-up in French, German, Arabic, Russian, Spanish, languages she taught herself specifically for this.
Right, which we'll definitely get into. Its dedication turned up to 11, maybe 12.
Or maybe just pure stubbornness, but always for a reason, it seems.
Always seems linked to a bigger goal, yeah. Okay, so let's unpack this. Where do we start? The foundation, I guess. Her origins, and that very personal but also very public identity evolution.
Sounds like the right place. It informs pretty much everything else.
Okay, so Suzy Eddie Izzard, born Edward John Izzard, 7 February 1962. And the birthplace itself is interesting, Aden.
Yeah, Aden colony as it was then, now a part of Yemen. It sort of hints at that global perspective right from the start, doesn't it?
It really does. Her family background, though, fundamentally English.
Fundamentally English, yes. Though the surname, Izzard, that has French Huguenot origins, which, again, kind of connects to the European theme that pops up later.
Ah, interesting.
Her parents were Dorothy, who is a midwife and nurse, and Harold, an accountant. He was working for British Petroleum, BP, out in Aden at the time.
Right, which explains the location. And like a lot of families linked to those big corporations, they moved around.
They did. Lived in Bangor, Northern Ireland for a bit until she was about 5. Then they moved to Skewen in Wales.
Okay.
But the really formative event, tragically, came very early. Her mother, Dorothy, died of cancer when Suzy was just 6 years old.
6? Wow, that's incredibly young to lose a parent.
It is. And you often see, psychologists talk about how that kind of loss can create this deep need for self-definition, for agency later in life.
And you can definitely see echoes of that, can't you? The endurance, the political drive.
Absolutely. That resilience. Around the same time, she was attending various private schools, St. John's in Newton, St. Bede's Prep in Eastbourne, then Eastbourne College, eventually studied drama at the University of Sheffield.
But it's fascinating how early her core ambitions seemed to form. She talks about 2 key realizations from childhood, right?
Yes, 2 really fundamental ones. First, she knew she was transgender at age 4.
4. How did she connect that?
She links it to seeing a boy being forced to wear a dress and feeling a sense of resonance, of understanding something about herself in that moment.
Incredible. And the second?
Knew she wanted to be an actor at age 7. So right from the beginning, you have this intertwining of performance, ambition, and personal identity. They weren't separate things for her.
That makes sense. So given that deep early understanding, the way her public identity, pronouns, name, how that's evolved publicly is a major part of her story.
It really is. She identifies primarily as genderfluid. She often uses transgender too, but more as an umbrella term that covers her experience.
And she's described it as somewhat boyish and somewhat girlish.
Exactly. That sense of duality, of fluidity, it's kind of a key to understanding her whole career, I think. How she can shift between, say, playing a very masculine general in Valkyrie and then performing stand-up in a dress and heels, It's not a contradiction for her.
Right. And her language around pronouns has changed over time, too.
It has, reflecting that fluidity. For years, she was comfortable with either he or she, and she'd talk about being in boy mode or girl mode. But then in 2020, there was a shift. She requested to hear pronouns for a TV appearance, specifically saying she wanted to be based in girl mode from now on.
Okay. And then more recently, the name change.
Yes, March 2023. That felt like a really significant personal moment. She announced she'd start using the name Suzy, which she'd apparently wanted since she was 10.
10 years old.
Yeah. So now is Suzy Eddie Izzard. But the way she handled the announcement was quite remarkable, I thought.
How so?
Well, she didn't make it a demand. It was more like an invitation. She explicitly said people can choose which name to use, Suzy or Eddie. And crucially, she added, you can't make a mistake.
That's incredibly generous, isn't it? Especially given how fraught these discussions can be.
Exactly. It's very pragmatic, very open. She still uses Eddie Izzard professionally, largely for name recognition. It's the established brand. But Suzy is there now, too.
It's a really interesting approach to managing a public self that's evolving. We should probably touch on the older terminology she used, too, reflecting the times.
Right. Earlier in her career, she identified as a transvestite. And she had some very famous, very quotable lines about it, like calling herself a lesbian trapped in a man's body.
I remember that one. And a complete boy plus half girl.
Yes. Those phrases really captured the complexity she was trying to articulate, maybe before the current vocabulary around gender fluidity was as widely understood.
And the act of dressing itself, which became public around 92, she's very clear about what that means.
Very clear. It's not a performance gimmick for the stage. It's not a sexual fetish.
It's just self-expression.
Purely. She puts it simply, it's just wearing a dress. It's about me just expressing myself. It's integral, not theatrical. And that fundamental drive for authentic self-expression, I think that's what really propelled her out of university drama societies and onto the street.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Leading us right into her comedy.
Exactly. That need for raw, unfiltered self-expression, it feeds directly into how her comedy developed. She did dabble a bit at University of Sheffield with a friend, Rob Ballard. But the real forging ground, the place where that unique Izzard style was hammered out, wasn't the student union bar. It was the street corner. Covent Garden, mostly.
All right, the street performing. That's such a key part of her origin story, connecting her to that whole tradition of busking escape artistry.
It is. Early 1980s, she's out there, Europe, the U.S., but often London's Covent Garden, doing solo escape acts, chains, handcuffs, that sort of thing.
Okay, so how does escape artistry lead to, well, rambling monologues about historical figures and jam?
Necessity. Street performing, especially escape acts, involves a lot of setup, a lot of managing the crowd, keeping them engaged while you strap yourself into something dangerous.
Oh, so she had to talk to fill the time.
Constantly. She developed her voice by just talking at the audience, keeping their attention during these long, sometimes chaotic setups that need to fill space to keep people hooked. That's where the rambling stream of consciousness thing comes from.
That makes so much sense. So what seems like chaos is actually born from intense crowd control practice.
Pretty much. And it becomes this style. Rambling, whimsical, self-referential pantomime, jumping between topics history, religion, household appliances, squirrels with guns.
It's an architecture built on tangents.
Beautifully put. And it's that apparent lack of structure that makes it so distinctive. The highest praise and the influence she herself cites most. Monty Python.
Right. John Cleese calling her the lost python.
Exactly. It suggests her brand of surreal, intelligent absurdity is seen as a direct continuation of that legacy.
And was there a specific moment that style broke through to a wider audience?
Yeah, 1991. She performed her Raised by Wolves routine, which is classic Izzard on a televised AIDS benefit, Hysteria 3. That was the platform. It showed people this wasn't just club comedy, it was something more.
And that led to the big tours.
That really opened the doors. Suddenly she's doing major international tours, shows that became, landmarks of alternative comedy, Live at the Ambassadors in 93, Definite Article 96, Glorious 97.
And the big one, Dressed to Kill in 98. That really crossed the Atlantic, didn't it?
That was the global breakthrough, followed by Circle in 2000, Stripped in 2009, Force Majeure in 2013, Wonder Bar more recently in 2022. Just a phenomenal body of stand-up work.
And Dressed to Kill got serious awards recognition too, didn't it? Not just laugh.
Oh, yeah. Huge validation. In 2000, it won 2 Primetime Emmys. Not 1, 2.
Okay, what were they for specifically?
Outstanding individual performance in a variety or music program, so recognizing her stage presence. And outstanding writing for a variety or music program.
Wow. So acknowledging the performance and the material itself.
Exactly. It proves that the apparent rambling isn't just random. There's a rigorous intellect, a real structure underneath all that seemingly effortless chaos.
But the Emmys weren't the end of her ambition, were they? Especially internationally. She started linking it to political ideas, too.
Very consciously. She's famously fluent in French, performs her entire shows in French. Effortlessly, it seems.
Right.
But then, and this is where the activism really kicks in, around 2014, she decided to start performing in languages she didn't speak. Arabic, German, Russian, Spanish.
Okay, hold on. Performing that kind of complex, improvised stream of consciousness stuff in a language you've only just learned. That sounds terrifying. Like professional suicide, almost.
It's an absolutely massive risk. You're not just reciting memorized lines. You need to understand the rhythm, the culture, the nuances well enough to riff, to interact with the audience spontaneously.
So I do it.
Politics. She explicitly connects it to her activism supporting Europeanism, supporting integration. It's using humor as a practical tool for cultural connection.
She's literally demonstrating boundary breaking.
Precisely. The message is, look, if I, this English comedian, can learn enough German to make jokes work in Berlin or enough Russian for Moscow, then maybe these cultural and political divides aren't insurmountable. It's performance as practical diplomacy.
That's actually really profound. Turning the stage into a statement about connection, it fits that theme perfectly, breaking barriers, whether they're gender, comedy conventions, or national borders.
Yeah, it's all part of the same project for her, it seems.
So that same drive, that ambition, it took her from stand-up into, well, serious dramatic acting, which might seem like a leap, but the versatility she showed is quite something.
It really is. And the bridge seems to have been the theater stage. Her West End drama debut was actually quite early, 1994. David Mamet's The Cryptogram, which is not exactly light comedy.
No, Mamet's intense stuff.
Definitely. And she didn't just stick to contemporary plays. She went straight into classics. Played the title role in Marlowe's Edward II in 1995. Then she tackled Lenny Bruce in the play Lenny in 99.
Playing Lenny Bruce, another boundary-pushing comedian? That feels fitting.
Very fitting. These roles demand real discipline, very different from the freewheeling stand-up persona. And the recognition came. Broadway, 2003. She took over from Clive Owen in A Day in the Death of Joe Egg.
And got a Tony nomination for that.
Yep, Tony nomination for Best Leading Actor, which is huge. Think about that journey. Street busker to Tony nominee for serious acting in, less than 20 years? It's remarkable validation of her range.
And that stage work continued, didn't it? Didn't she recently do a one-person Hamlet?
She did. That's almost the ultimate dramatic challenge, isn't it? A one-person Hamlet, adapted by her brother, Mark, debuted in New York in 2024.
One person playing all those parts. How does that even work?
It relies entirely on incredible physical and vocal skill, memory, sheer presence, holding an audience through 5 acts of maybe the most complex play ever written, all by yourself. It's another endurance feat. It's a different kind.
Right. Like the marathons, but with soliloquies.
Exactly. And it was a huge success, extended 3 times in New York, then transferred to London. It really cemented her status as a serious, heavyweight dramatic actor.
Okay, so let's look at her screen career then. Films and TV, it's pretty extensive.
Very extensive. Started back in 1995. What often stands out is her being cast as these complex, often historical figures.
Like who?
She played Charlie Chaplin in Peter Bogdanovich's The Cat's Meow, the German actor Gustav von Wangenheim in Shadow of the Vampire, General Erich Feldgiebel, one of the conspirators in Valkyrie, and Robert Watson-Watt, the radar pioneer, in a BBC film called Castles in the Sky.
So often playing real people known for their intellect or their role in history.
Yeah, she seems to have a knack for embodying that kind of brilliance or intensity. But then on the flip side, you have the big Hollywood blockbusters.
The Ocean's films.
Right. Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13, playing Roman Nagel, the sort of smooth, technical expert, the criminal mastermind.
Very different vibe, but she fit right into those big ensemble casts, showed she could do the slick Hollywood thing too.
Definitely. And we shouldn't forget her voice acting work either. She's got a pretty distinctive voice.
Who has she voiced?
Nigel the koala in Disney's The Wild, the valiant mouse Riapicheep in The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. And then, back to that Python-esque absurdity, she voiced Voldemort in the Lego Batman movie.
Voldemort in Lego Batman. That's brilliant.
It's perfect casting, isn't it? Her TV work's been significant, too, especially in some quality U.S. shows.
Like The Riches.
Yeah, starred opposite Minnie Driver in The Riches for 20 episodes, played Dr. Hadaris in United States of Tara. And had a really memorable, quite chilling role as Dr. Abel Gideon in Hannibal.
Oh, right. She was very creepy in that.
Unsettlingly good. And just to loop back to her comedy roots, she had those lovely cameo moments with Monty Python.
Ah, yes, the Lost Python finally getting on stage.
Sort of. In 1998, at the Monty Python Live at Aspen Tribute, she walked on stage and was immediately ushered off by Eric Idle and Michael Palin. It was a brilliant inside joke.
That is the ultimate tribute from them, isn't it?
Absolutely. Then in 2014, for their Monty Python Live, mostly reunion shows, she was invited back properly as a special guest in the Blackmails.
Right. That lack of prep is crucial. Let's start with the first big one, the 2009 Marathon Challenge for Sport Relief.
Okay. Goal. Run back-to-back marathons across the UK. Simple enough goal, insanely difficult execution.
And the preparation.
5 weeks of training.
5 weeks for multiple marathons. That's
Yeah.
dangerous, isn't it?
For a seasoned runner prepping for one marathon, 5 weeks is cutting it fine. For a non-runner planning to run dozens consecutively, it's almost unthinkable. It just shows this incredible belief in mind over matter, especially when charity's involved.
So what was the final result?
She completed 43 marathons in 51 days, covered over 1,100 miles, running through England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland.
43 in 51 days. And the times weren't super fast, but that's not the point, is it?
Not at all. The times range from maybe 5 hours to 10 hours per marathon. The point is the accumulation, the sheer physical toll of getting up the next day and the next and doing it again for nearly 2 months.
And there was symbolism involved too, wasn't there? With flags.
Yes, very deliberate symbolism. In England, Scotland, Wales, she carried the flag of that nation. But in Northern Ireland, reflecting the political sensitivities, she carried a flag she designed herself, green with a white dove.
Referencing the Northern Ireland football jersey, but adding the dove for peace.
Exactly. A direct link between the physical effort and a political hope for unity. That whole endeavor earned her a special award at the BBC Sports Personality of the Year in 2009. Rightly so.
But knowing Izzard, that wasn't the end of it?
Not even close. One insane challenge just sets the stage for the next. 2016, South Africa.
Ah, the Nelson Mandela Challenge. This one felt even more charged emotionally and politically.
Definitely. The goal. 27 marathons in 27 days. Specifically honoring the 27 years Mandela was imprisoned.
And the physical conditions were brutal.
Incredibly tough. Over 700 miles South African heat, temperatures hitting 40 degrees Celsius sometimes. And remember, she'd actually tried this once before, in 2012, and had to pull out due to health issues.
So there was that psychological hurdle, too, the memory of the previous failure. How did she manage it this time?
Pure grit. She finished it March 20th, 2016, right at the statue of Mandela in Pretoria. But there was a twist.
Oh.
Because she'd had to spend 1 day in the hospital during the run, she was technically 1 marathon short heading into the final day.
So what did she do?
She ran 2 marathons back-to-back on the last day, just powered through 52.4 miles to hit the 27 total within the 27 days.
That is, frankly, bonkers. An absolutely fanatical level of determination. It connects that physical suffering directly to the political memory, doesn't it? Like embodied activism.
Completely. And it worked in terms of fundraising, too. Raised over $1.35 million for sport relief just from that run.
Astonishing. But she still wasn't done. There was another challenge more recently.
2021. And this time, she combined her worlds, the challenge, run 31 marathons and perform 31 stand-up gigs, all during the 31 days of January 2021.
Okay, that's just logistically insane. Run a marathon, travel, perform a full show, sleep, repeat. For a month.
The sheer exhaustion must have been immense. But she did it. Pulled off both the running and the performing, raised over £275,000 for various charities. So the running isn't a side hobby. It's a core part of her activism, a tool for raising awareness and funds.
It's another form of performance in a way. A very painful, very public performance for a cause.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Which brings us neatly to the politics itself. Moving from the physical endurance of marathons to the psychological endurance needed for a political career, her commitment to the Labour Party goes way back, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, decades. She joined the Labour Party back in 1995, and this wasn't just, celebrity endorsement. She got involved. She was listed as one of their biggest private donors back in 98, donated again significantly in 2008. She put her money where her mouth was.
And used her platform, too.
Campaigning. Actively. Appeared in party political broadcasts for the 2005 election, the 2009 European election, that brilliant Britain video in 2010. She clearly sees politics and public service as something she wants to do, not just support.
But translating that commitment into actual elected office, that's been tougher.
It has. The internal party structures, the electoral system itself, they've been real hurdles. She ran for Labor's National Executive Committee, the NEC, twice, 2016 and 2018, and didn't win a seat initially.
Just remind us, the NEC, that's the party's governing body, right? So getting on that is a big deal internally.
Huge deal. It controls party management, discipline, policy direction. It's a real sign of grassroots support and influence. Now, she did actually get onto the NEC briefly. In March 2018, she was the next highest runner-up when someone resigned.
Ah, okay.
But then she failed to get reelected in the main elections later that summer, so it was a short stint.
And the ambition to become an MP or mayor, that's ongoing.
Seems to be. She talked about running for mayor of London in 2020, though that didn't happen in the end.
Yeah.
Then she went for selection as the prospective parliamentary candidate, the PPC, for Sheffield Central in 2022.
Didn't get it.
No. Then tried again for Brighton Pavilion in 2023.
Didn't get that either.
No. Lost the members' ballots both times. But the fact that she keeps trying, keeps putting herself forward despite these setbacks, it echoes the marathons, doesn't it? That same persistence. She just keeps running.
That's a good analogy. So, despite not getting elected yet, her core political views are pretty clear and consistent, especially on Europe.
Oh, incredibly clear, staunch Europeanist. Calls herself a British European. Sees it as a natural cultural identity and not a contradiction.
And she famously spent one of the first Euros in London.
She did. A very public statement of belief. And as we said, that feeds directly into the multilingual comedy strategy. It's all connected.
And beyond Europe, what about UK politics specifically?
She's pushed for electoral reform, campaigned for the alternative vote AV system back in the 2011 referendum, wanting to replace first past the post. She's also a proponent of British republicanism, believes the UK should eventually have an elected head of state, not the monarchy.
Okay. And ideologically, where does she place herself?
Clearly identifies as a social democrat, but she's made a point quite explicitly of saying she is not a socialist. So firmly left of center, but drawing a line within that spectrum.
Right. And on things like Scottish independence.
Campaigned against it in the 2014 referendum, very passionately argued that the rest of the UK would feel a deep sense of loss if Scotland left pro-union in that context.
Okay. And then there are the more personal interests that sort of flesh out the picture.
Yeah, the little fascinating side bits. She's been an associate director at Crystal Palace Football Club since 2012.
A football fan.
Apparently so. And a dedicated train modeler, even donated her childhood model railway set to Bexhill Museum in 2016.
Train sets and football. Adds another layer. And her overall philosophy, you mentioned her views on religion earlier.
Right. Identifies as an atheist. Said the realization actually hit her while she was on stage during the Strip tour in 2008.
On stage, wow.
Yeah. Though she later refined it a bit, described herself as a spiritual atheist. Her explanation was brilliant. I don't believe in the guy upstairs. I believe in us, putting faith in humanity's potential.
I believe in us.
Yeah.
That feels very Izzard, very humanist.
Exactly. Which ties into the kind of recognition she's received from certain institutions. Yeah, when you look at the honors and awards, it's clear that academic and cultural bodies see her as more than just an entertainer. She's seen as a significant cultural force, an advocate. She's got a whole string of honorary doctorates.
From where?
University of East Anglia, Sunderland, York St. John's, Sussex, Sheffield. Quite a list.
And the reasons they give are important, right? The citation.
Absolutely crucial. They spell out the perceived impact. UEA, back in 2003, specifically mentioned her work promoting modern languages and tolerance of other cultures and lifestyles, and for having transcended national barriers with her humor.
So direct academic recognition of the multilingual comedy as a tool for positive social change.
Precisely. Then in 2014, The Guardian named her their public language champion. Again, a direct nod to that active effort she puts into learning and performing in French, German, Spanish, etc.
And within the comedy world itself, where does she rank?
Well, rankings are subjective, but in a big 2007 poll of the 100 greatest British national comedians, she came in at number 3.
Number 3. Who was ahead of her?
Only Peter Kay and Billy Connolly. So incredibly high regard from both critics and the public, placing her among the absolute legends.
That's serious staying power in a tough business.
Definitely. And then, tying back to that humanist philosophy we just mentioned, in 2013, Harvard University gave her the Outstanding Lifetime Achievement Award in Cultural Humanism.
Cultural humanism. That award really seems to capture her core values, doesn't it? Championing liberal ideals, democracy, human effort. and linking it all to her public career.
It fits perfectly. It recognizes the belief in us that seems to drive so much of what she does.
So looking back at everything, the street performer who masters Shakespeare, the political activist who embraces the struggle, the athlete who pushes physical limits with almost no prep. Suzy Eddie Izzard really is the definition of intentional self-reinvention, isn't she? Always pushing boundaries.
I think that's the perfect summary. The unifying thread, the through line across all these seemingly disparate activities is that profound commitment to defying limits. Whether it's language barriers in Paris, physical barriers in South Africa, or social barriers around gender or politics, it's a constant, rigorous push against constraints. And maybe the most impressive performance of all is her ability to navigate and publicly embrace this evolving personal identity, Suzy Eddie Izzard, while maintaining such a recognizable, versatile, and impactful public persona.
That idea of using self-expression not just for yourself, but as a tool to actively dismantle barriers for others, that's really powerful. Which leaves us with a thought for you, the listener. Considering Izzard's intense dedication to performing in multiple languages, her passionate Europeanism, what's one small step, maybe, that you could take today? Something to break down a little cultural or linguistic barrier in your own community. It makes you think, doesn't it? Can humor and empathy really travel if we put in the effort?
Definitely food for thought. That's all for this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.